Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Shade of It
Shade of
All.
it all. Yes, I'm
Thank
so
y'all so much.
excited.
Thank y'all so much for coming back. I'm Brandon.
I'm Magdala or Maggie, as Brendan will call me.
You know what? We debated this in the last episode if you want to hear what was said about that. But what episode? This is episode 4.
Episode 4. Oh my gosh.
It's
We're
so
doing great.
exciting. We are. But for today's episode, we're not even going to try to like get into too many pleasantries or anything like that. The topic is Love is Blind. We are Love is Blind. Love is Blind is us, and we got a lot to
Yes.
discuss.
We have a lot to discuss. We do.
Real quick though, Maggie, are you okay-ish? How are you?
I'm okay, Brandon, but like I kind of really didn't like how you just asked me how I was okay. And I'm kind of offended by it. And I think the next time that you ask me, am I okay? You need to ask me like, Maggie, are you okay? And then I'll feel like loved and cared for. You know what I mean?
I think you're being a little clingy right now, actually, Maggie.
Clingy. How dare you?
How fucking dare you? She
You
flipped.
are so rude. This is bullshit. I'm out of here.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
I
She
had to,
was a
I had to, I
mess.
had to. We're gonna get into it.
We are, but
My best Chelsea impression ever. I'm doing great, Brandon. How are you? Are you okay-ish?
I could be better, but no, I'm actually pretty good. It was a good weekend.
Awesome.
A good time.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm excited to talk to you.
Yes. If y'all are listening, you won't be able to appreciate it. But if you're on YouTube, check out Brandon's new haircut. He
Oh
looks
Lord.
great.
I'm trying to like, because I have
I
like a
love it.
little mullet, but I was trying to make it look messy because I
Okay,
feel like
Trevor. I see you, Trevor.
oh God, no, 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 not Trevor. We'll get into that tea after we go through what's been aired on the show. But
Mhm.
I got a little mullet though, a little Trevor-esque, but just in hair. But I was trying
Mhm.
to make it look a little messy because I got kind of a t-shirt on that's a little bit like a band t-shirt, but I don't know if I'm giving messy mullet or like soccer mom. I guess it depends what angle you look at it.
Brandon, it's giving messy mullet, friend.
Okay,
Trust me.
thanks. We'll see. I like to do a little different. So you can't win them all. But with that being said, our last episode, we covered only the premiere of Love is Blind because at the time they dropped 6 episodes and we just that week was busy for us both. We didn't get a chance to like watch them. I will
Mm-hmm.
say immediately after recording, I did watch like 2 or 3 episodes because I had to know what happened. Um, but with that, we are now officially caught up because we were gonna do it like, oh, we're a week behind, but we were like, no, we gotta watch all these because it's too good. So we're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
going over what happened episodes 2 through 9, and we're gonna be catching
Mm-hmm.
up and all of that. So
Yes, we
buckle up.
are.
We're gonna go by couples. I feel like that's the easiest way. Like each
Mm-hmm.
couple and then like whoever their other conquests, quote unquote, were in the pods, and then what's going on
Yeah.
after the pods, because a lot's going down after the pods and after the show.
Oh boy.
Um, but we were gonna start with probably the most polarizing couple thus far on the show, Jimmy and Chelsea.
Jimmy and Chelsea and Jessica.
And
The love
Jessica,
triangle.
because before they left the pods, Jessica was a factor.
She was.
So, Maggie, you want to start us off?
Sure, I'll dive in. I'll dive in. So Chelsea and Jimmy had a connection, and so did Jimmy and Jessica. I guess we can talk about Jimmy and Jessica for a little bit. So, as
Yeah.
you know, a little.
A
We'll,
little.
we're gonna do the cliff notes and the most important parts. So,
Right.
Jimmy and Jessica had an interesting relationship. You could tell there were like strong emotional feelings and even like sexual feelings. Like they both had like a very strong attraction to each other. And
Hmm.
we come to this moment where Jessica decides to give Jimmy a letter that she has written in the past to her future husband. And he is reading this and he is choking up. And then it
Hmm.
kind of hit the fan.
It did. I don't think he ever recovered from, because, like, what? No, wait. No, that did happen episode 1. A lot
What?
happened episode 1 where she came clean
Yeah.
about the kid. Damn, why
Oh
did
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that happened later? But episode one was jam-packed. Yeah, he
Hmm.
never recovered from that, from her saying she had a kid.
He did not. And so he reads this letter and he's like, wow, this is so like nice. Like, thank you so much. And you can tell that he maybe wants to tell her he loves her, but he's also dating Chelsea. So Jimmy in this moment is conflicted. And Jessica is like, I'm not feeling your response, Jimmy. Like, you're not really giving me anything back. Like, I've literally poured my heart out to you. I've poured my soul out to you, and you are not giving me enough right now. And I don't like this, she says. She's like, I'm not here for it. Like, no, I don't like your response right now.
Yeah, she could tell there was definitely like a sense of like there was a change in his tone and a shift
Hmm.
in how he was answering.
And then, I mean, in the pods, Chelsea and Jimmy are just having a good time. Um, she has a sushi date with him. She buys him sushi. And then she gives him a gift. We never see what the gift is because this is like after her interaction with she gave Trevor a gift, but like this is after his interaction with Jessica, so maybe I don't know, he was too upset to open it. I don't know. But he
Yeah.
kind of confides in Chelsea, like, I just had a really bad interaction with Jessica. And Chelsea was just like, I'm here 100%. Like, just let me know what you need, Jimmy. And Jimmy tells Chelsea he loves her. So that evening, I guess, or sometime after this conversation with Jessica, this like kind of little beef with Jessica, he tells Chelsea that he loves her.
Yes, he does. And then that's when it's like he kind of made his choice in that moment because
Mm-hmm.
then the next day when he's talking kind of breaks it off with Jessica, she
Mm-hmm.
reams into him.
She
And it's just like
does.
you already knew your choice and knew what you wanted to do
Mm-mm.
yesterday, but you
Mm-hmm.
weren't bold enough to say it. So now you say it now. And just so you know, when you see me out of these pods, you're gonna choke. You're
You're
gonna
gonna
need your
choke, Jimmy!
EpiPen. And I was like, not the EpiPen.
I was like, okay, girl, with the metaphors, go off.
I
Jessica
can't.
came to fight. She was like, I don't
She
care
did. She
about
came to
none of these
fight.
cameras. I'm gonna let you know. And she was on his neck. She was like, be direct. Tell me how you feel. Don't sugarcoat it. So what happens in between these?
Because
So
he's
the
not
day before,
direct
he's
at
not direct
all.
at all. I
Mm-mm.
mean, I
And
don't
then when
know.
he's
Well,
direct, it's like in a wrong way.
I feel for Jimmy because like he is torn between two people. And I haven't been in a situation where I'm dating 15 people and I really like two of them, you know? And
Yeah,
so it's funny because Jessica verbally says, like, Jimmy, take your time, whatever. That is not what she means at all. She's like, hurry up and pick me, please. Hurry
she
up.
does
I
mean
just gave
that.
you the letter to my future husband. This was supposed to seal the
I
deal, Jimmy.
sealed the deal. Why
No,
aren't you
she
picking
wasn't with
me?
it. She
No.
was not with it at all. And what happens is, so that evening, Chelsea is giddy. She's like, "Oh my gosh, he told me he loves me." She falls out on the floor and is crying on the floor. And she's like, "Oh my gosh." I think she says, "I love you too," whatever. She goes back to their like, common living space and she
Oh,
tells
yeah.
Laura that Jimmy said, "I love you." And then Laura goes prancing over to Jessica. Just go home. Go home. Go home. I just want to protect you. And I was like, literally, who are you? Like, we haven't
I
seen
know,
any kind of
right?
relationship between you guys. You want to protect her. You're telling her to go home. And Jessica's
Hmm.
like, what happened? What happened? Jessica's holding it together. She's like, what happened? I mean,
Yeah,
actually, she looked kind of fine. And then once
she
it
did.
sunk in, she was devastated. She was devastated that Jimmy picked Chelsea. But she was mad because, and I mean, let's talk about this. Jimmy gets in a fight with Jessica, and that kind of makes him make up his mind.
Yeah.
So did she really like show her ass? Like, did she really show a bad characteristic? Or is he just like, I didn't like that. We had a bad argument. Let me just go with like, like, did he really want to choose Chelsea, or was he like making a choice out of like anger or frustration? You know what I mean?
I think he tries to be very conflict avoidant. And in
Yeah.
that moment, he realized Jessica is not. So there is that. And I think what
Yeah.
also helped make that decision was Chelsea did say that she's been compared to Megan Fox. So he was like, I'm getting this cool girl who looks like Megan Fox and she's
Oh
chill, as opposed
gosh.
to this other girl who yells at me about everything and she has a kid and all
Yeah,
this. And
yeah. I
so
mean,
it
it's
sealed the
hard.
deal.
If you know, I mean, I like Jessica. I like that she's direct with Jimmy. She tells him what's up, you know.
She is
But
direct.
getting in a fight with him and like putting a lot of pressure on him is not a way to make someone feel like safe and secure with you through a wall. You know what I mean? Like y'all
Yeah.
haven't seen each other, you haven't met, and now you're putting all this pressure on him. And I think I wrote down, she said like, okay, I think we'll talk, maybe we'll talk later. Like she was being very like, I'm not with you, you know? And Jimmy is like, oh gosh, you know?
Oh my
So
God.
yes, Jimmy,
He just
Jimmy
has that
moves.
look, that clueless look on his face always. If
Poor
he's not doing the
guy.
clueless look, he's doing that crazed smile where he's trying to convince us and everyone that he made the right choice.
It's so funny because I
He's
feel like we're
like,
on different.
yeah, I'm happy. I'm
Brandon!
so happy. I made the best choice of my life. It's amazing.
Y'all, you have to be watching this on YouTube so you can catch all of Brandon's facial expressions. But this is crazy because I didn't notice him looking dumb or making funny faces. Brandon is not a fan of Jimmy. I kind of am. I'm not a super fan, but I'm like, Jimmy's cool. I think he's all right.
I can feel for him in certain parts of it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just he's very, I just noticed with him, he's very like he's not direct. Like he is
Yeah.
just very like he's not, and in this situation you need to be. And I think he just has like a I don't know. I think just a lot of these people weren't actually ready to settle down and find love. So, and I think it's just really the case with him. He's also kind of young. Like, isn't he like 27?
I don't know how old he is. We'd have to look it up.
Like all a lot of these people are young. Like Kenneth and Brittany are like 24 and 25, which we'll talk about them. But they're like
I
really
think I heard.
young.
Yeah, I think Amy said something about. No, no, Chelsea's 30. She said something about being 30
Yeah, but what's crazy
and
too
being
is I think
old.
Laura's like 33 and so is Jeremy with an A, and we know how that ends. We'll get to
We'll
that.
get there. We'll get
We'll
there.
get there.
That's funny. No, I don't know. I have sympathy because Brandon, like literally put yourself so this is my take on Love is Blind. It is a set up. It's
Well,
a
yes,
setup.
it is a
They
setup.
want
Maggie
these
got right
people.
to the camera. She's like, it's a setup. They're tricking us.
It is a setup. Like they are literally putting you in the most stressful situation of your whole life. Like if I was in the pods and I met somebody cool and they were cool with me, I'd be like, "Hey, we really like each other. Let's just date." Like I'm glad I found you. I'm glad I met you. Let's just date. And so I think all the pressure is just getting to Jimmy because it is a lot.
It is a lot. And I will say there is a few instances where I'm like, I think it's weird that they have to propose and then get married 4 weeks later. Cause I'm
Mm-hmm.
like with Clay and AD in particular, I'm like, I don't know if y'all should get married. Like maybe date a little longer, sure, but I don't know about married.
A lot of them, it's like, I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
it's
know.
just
I mean, I
wild.
get the experiment because, you get to make this deep emotional connection with somebody. I get why they do it. But I just think that this whole process is very stressful. And a prime example of that is Jimmy. Literally, Jimmy himself as a person. He is like so stressed out. He's
Hmm.
overwhelmed. You can tell. He's indecisive. He doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Did you peep how Jimmy didn't get anybody a gift? I think that's really crazy.
He didn't,
He didn't.
but
He said, "I'm not getting gifts because I don't want to like pretty much cause conflict." I felt like that's what he was saying. He didn't want to cause conflict between like him and Jessica by getting Chelsea a gift, and he didn't want to get them the same gift. He's like, "There's just too many choices."
he's one of those where it's like he just doesn't say what he means.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's like, okay, but you're telling Chelsea I love you right after this fight.
Mm-hmm.
When you could have told Jessica before that you knew you weren't feeling it anymore. Him and Jessica end, it's like all the tears, and then he
Mm-hmm.
does like tell Chelsea, like, I want to be with you, like you're the one, and he like proposes through the pods, which is very
Mm-hmm.
awkward, like just in
Such a
general that they have to
terrible.
do it like that. But
Yeah.
anyways,
You could tell Jimmy didn't rehearse that proposal.
yeah.
Bad.
And
He
she
was like,
breaks down,
I'm
she
not
says
good.
yes.
She says yes. She's like, I'm not good. He's like, I'm not good at talking, but and she was like,
We
I
know.
love you anyway. Right.
We
No,
know
it's
Jimmy.
it's how Chelsea feels for Jimmy is how Jimmy felt for Jessica. And that's what I'm gonna stand beside.
And then how Chelsea felt for Jimmy is how Trevor felt for Chelsea, allegedly.
Trevor, allegedly. Trevor, we got some tea on you, but first we'll talk about you, Trevor.
Hmm.
So Trevor really likes Chelsea. He's so patient. All they do is laugh together. He is accepting of everything. He didn't hesitate to say, I don't care that you were married. Trevor like really likes her. They're doing cute little stuff on their dates. I think they both exchange gifts. He gives her some weird shit.
What'd he give her?
Hold on, let me find it. He gave her flowers. He gave
Okay.
her a love rock. He gives her a collar. I guess his dog's name is Chelsea, and he brought the dog collar.
Oh, yeah.
What is this? I don't want a dog
I
collar.
would have maybe, given what we know and given that gift, maybe Chelsea made the right choice, given her
I don't.
options.
I mean, but here. Ah, you're right. You're right. Those gifts were weird, but I was like, at least he did something. And then she gave him the bracelet that, like, oh, you vibrate it, I vibrate it, and then it will tell you that I'm pressing the button. Something about long distance
Didn't he
relationships.
give her that? And then he was like, I'm gonna keep pressing it.
No, that she gave it to him. And
Oh.
then later he was saying the next day or however long, the day she broke up with him, he said I had been pressing it all day.
So she ended up
Yeah.
rejecting him and he seemed upset. He
Yeah.
certainly cried and was like,
Oh, he
"Oh,
did cry,
I
you're
had
right.
like a speech prepared. I didn't think you would say no," which
Yeah.
is wild.
It is
But
wild.
yeah, so she broke it off with him and so they're no
Yeah.
longer. So her and Jimmy got to meet and they
She does a little dinosaur run. To
I
her
was
man.
like, Chelsea.
I was like, Chelsea, don't you ever in your life run like that again. And then she proceeds to do it she does it for the rest of eternity because I see her run to her friends like that. I'm like, Chelsea. But
She's
it's okay. We can make fun of Chelsea's run because she made fun of her dinosaur run as well.
She did. She was very self-aware, which is something, and I will say, when she did compare herself to Megan Fox, I believed her.
Oh, yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
that's a couple people maybe told her that, and I could see, depending who said it or like where it was said, um, how you can see her eyes, and it's
Yeah.
like she looks like Megan Fox, and like the
Yeah.
eyebrows and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but but only kind of.
Right. She should have prefaced. I mean, she kind of said like because of my eyes and hair, people say I look like Megan Fox. And then she told him like don't get carried away, whatever. But he started laughing and they just
He
kind of
was like,
ran with it.
Megan Fox. Oh my
No,
God.
you gotta clarify. I kind of my face somewhat resembles Megan Fox. You gotta be
But
specific.
also, she said, because she was like the light eyes and dark hair. And I'm like, but Chelsea, your hair is not even dark right now. It's like a light brown.
Oh, that's
So,
true. It isn't that
like,
dark.
you're just being like, why set yourself up like this?
Yeah.
Which, okay. And when they meet, I will say, I feel like in general, like the first meet is kind of awkward for most of
Yeah.
them, at least, which
Yeah.
makes sense. But this one in particular was. Because you have her with the dinosaur run, you have him, and you can just see on his face he's not attracted to her at all. And I feel so bad for her. And like he looks at camera at one point, he's like smiling, and then he's just like,
No, he's like, help. Help. Roll the B-roll. Roll the clip where she said she looked like Megan Fox.
I think in that moment, he felt, which this is just how he was. He was like, oh my God, I got this babe, Megan Fox. It's so cool. And then when he saw Chelsea, who is very beautiful, but
Hmm.
is not Megan Fox,
Not Megan Fox.
I could tell he just felt like I just got duped with this whole experiment. And he felt like he even said so much in his interview. He's like,
He's
she
like,
did say she
she
looked like
lied.
Megan Fox, and she
Hmm.
doesn't.
Does not. Does not.
He kept repeating, like, oh, you're gorgeous. No, you're amazing.
Yeah.
This is great. I'm so in love. How do you feel? You feel great?
It
We
didn't
all feel
seem
great.
genuine. It didn't
Don't we
seem
all feel great
genuine.
right now? This is great.
Yeah.
I love this.
Oh
I love
gosh.
you. Oh my God. Let me get down
You're
on
the
the
best thing
knees.
that's ever happened to me.
How do you think I look? Because I didn't know how you would look, but you look great. It's amazing.
This is the best Jimmy impression ever, Brandon. You're doing great. No, that's literally how he was.
He's a
So yeah, their
mess.
proposal was hella awkward, but they
Hmm.
looked happy. And then we jumped to their first night together in the Dominican Republic
Looks like
on
a
their
great
engagement moon.
vacation. I wanted to
Oh, it
go.
did. It looked, you wanted to go.
Yeah.
It looked warm and tropical. It was nice. They're sitting together in their room, and she's like, "You're so handsome. What do you think about me?"
And he's
And
like, "You're
I just felt
gorgeous."
like he was like, you have nice teeth. And they're very square and nice. I mean, but in the sense that it's like Jimmy was her teeth.
Jimmy, here's the thing, and this is just the underlying thing with them throughout the season so far. She knows he's not attracted to her,
Yeah,
which is making her try to like vie for his attention and like
yeah.
be kind of needy and just like, oh my God, da 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 da, and like be at his beck and call and be like, what do you think? Like, do you think I'm pretty? Like, what do you think of
Uh,
me? Like, and he's
yeah.
not willing to admit that he's not attracted. So he'll always be like, no, this is gorgeous. This is the best decision I ever made. And he constantly compares them to the other couples. Like I said, I love you
Uh,
way more than the
I
other
mean,
people. I
I
did
think
this way
he.
more. And it's like, but
Uh,
it's not about that. You're just doing that for show because you're telling them, like, oh, we get along better than anyone, but you actually don't. You're fighting because you're fighting the fact that you don't like her. She knows you don't
mm-mm,
like her, but she's trying to like win you over and be like, no, he will like me because she also knows how Jessica looks. And
mm-hmm.
so at the end of the day, they should be friends.
I disagree. We are on different pages about
What do
your
you
face.
think?
Do not look at me like that. One, don't you ever in your life look at me like that again. No, just kidding. No, I disagree. Okay, maybe he at first was surprised that she didn't look like Megan Fox, but like we see, so the first night, he was struggling to compliment her, whatever. They spent time together during this like little like vacation. I want to call it a honeymoon, but it's not. During their engagement moon. And he seems like he's into her. They're laughing, they're having a good time, they're being intimate, like they're enjoying each other's company. You know what I mean? They have the group gathering and she gets mad at him. But I genuinely think that he was having a good time at the gathering. He's talking to the boys. He's like, she's a babe. Oh, yeah, we're doing great. Oh, I love spending time with her. He keeps telling her he
Because
loves
he's
her.
overcompensating because he
I
knows he made a
disagree.
choice
Brandon,
he
I
doesn't
disagree.
like.
I genuinely think that Brandon likes Chelsea. I genuinely think that Jimmy liked Chelsea, like that he really did have a strong, and maybe I don't know if he loved her, but I think he had a strong connection with her and was going to see it through.
Yeah, like a friendship
Chelsea,
connection.
you're stupid. No, Chelsea, on the other hand, my sis, I'm sorry, but she's got some issues to work through. She just seems very, very insecure. And I don't know
She
if she's
is.
insecure. I don't even think it has anything to do with Jessica. I think any man in this position, if you're not telling her you love her enough, if you're not telling her she's beautiful enough, she's gonna like feel some type of way about it. So that's my take. But let's break it down some more as we go through. So they have the couples like gathering and this whole situation with AD happened. What do you think about that, Brandon?
I was a little confused because at first I thought she was okay with what he said because he called her stacked. And like
Mm-hmm.
80, she's great.
She's
But
great.
maybe don't say that to your fiance. Um,
Yeah.
but at first she acted like she was okay with it, and then she told AD, and then he got annoyed because like he kind of embarrassed, she kind of
Yeah, that's
embarrassed him.
embarrassing. I don't know why she needed to scream it across the room. Hey,
Yeah.
AD, how do you look like that? I don't know. She said something. How do you get your butt so nice or something? And it's like, Chelsea, you don't seem embarrassed. You seem like you want everybody to know what he just said when it could have been a cute little thing between you guys.
But I think she revealed she didn't like it. And then when he kept talking to AD and didn't notice she was all alone, and then she had said throughout the night that he wasn't really checking up on her.
Yeah.
I just, it's just like, I think that also adds to the fact that she knows he's not attracted to her. So when he says that
Yeah.
about AD and has a very seamless, more smooth flirting and conversation than he ever has with Chelsea since they've been face to face, she
Damn.
sees it. She knows.
Uh,
But it makes her even more insecure and like whiny and
yeah.
clingy, which
And
she needs
clingy.
to work through, but
Hmm.
he
No,
like it's both of
uh
them.
this is so crazy because I understand why you got to that conclusion.
You're like, I get
I
it, but
I get it, but from what I saw, I was like, okay, this interaction with AD is weird. I don't know why Chelsea made it weird. But since you made it weird, Chelsea, now Jimmy has to go talk to AD. And they're
that's
talking,
true.
they did date. So I didn't think anything of the conversation between AD and Jimmy because the whole time Jimmy was talking about Chelsea. He's like, yeah, we have a great connection. They're literally talking about their relationships. He's like, Clay is a great guy. Like it was literally innocent. I didn't see him spin her around. I don't know where Chelsea.
Yeah, I
The
don't think I
other
saw that
problem,
either.
Chelsea be making stuff up, Brandon. I don't know about
I'm
Chelsea.
not look, I'm not
She's
saying
inventing scenarios.
she does. She's like, you
She-
kissed her. Uh but yeah, it didn't seem that bad. I think maybe it was
Didn't.
just because of how long it lasted.
Maybe.
I
And then
think
I
it
mean,
was just I think he's more attracted to AD than
yeah.
her. And that's what
Yeah.
she was picking up on.
Is the other issue with this whole situation with AD and the first night of the party is Chelsea, Jimmy doesn't know you. He doesn't know that you want to come over and have him talk to you the whole night. He's just hanging out. They're probably drunk. I think a lot of them were like tipsy or drunk. Like they're
Yeah.
just having a night out. He's seeing the guys for the first time. You want him by your arm the whole time.
I've told her I
He
love her all
doesn't
the
know that.
time. We're better than all of you. We're the best couple here.
Oh yeah, he
This
was
is
like, yeah, I
great.
think we're the best. And that's the other thing. That's why I feel like he
She's
liked him
babe.
because the whole night he was talking about her. He was gassing her up in their relationship. And then she's pissed because she didn't like she is going to be punching this guy when she sees how much Jimmy was like hyping her up at this party. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Jimmy is someone he says something, but his vibe and his action says something else.
Why do we have two completely different takes on this
We
man?
do.
We
Because
are opposed.
he it's just like he's telling all of them, oh, I love her, she's amazing. But when we watch them together, he does not like her. He is not attracted to her.
What makes you think he doesn't like her?
I think he likes her.
Okay, what
But
what makes you
again,
think that he's not smitten? Like, what about his behavior is getting you to this conclusion? Because I'm actually saying like valid things. I
because
think you just don't like Jimmy.
no, he does it. It's just watching. It's a very awkward. It's so forced what he's saying, and he's not getting deep at all. It's so surface. He brings up her looks every chance he gets. He's literally trying to convince himself.
She asked him to do that. But
She
go ahead.
asked him, but he also separately would be like, "Oh no, you're gorgeous. You're great. You're amazing. This is
Yeah.
amazing. Best decision of my life." You are saying it's the best decision of your life more than you are acting like it's the best decision of your life. So
And
you're
then what would
telling
that
all your friends and all these
uh-huh.
people, "Oh, this is amazing. I love her. I've told her we've had no issues." But then when you're with her, you're not giving that same vibe. You're having a friendly vibe, but she's picking up on the fact that there's like a distance. Like he has a shield up. Like it's not there. He does not like this girl.
Oh
Like
my
it's so
gosh.
clear.
I don't understand how I don't see any of the things that you're saying, but like,
You're
okay,
looking through
that's
life
fine.
with Jimmy rose-colored glasses, and that's
I'm not,
okay.
it's not even like I like the dude. I'm just like, yo,
You may be
but
right because it looks like they may get married, so maybe I'm wrong, but I
I
don't
was
know.
how is Chelsea wearing a wedding dress?
I was surprised. I was like, wait, what?
Pause. She's in a dress,
She's
smiling in a dress. She thinks she's about to. Who, Chelsea? Are you waiting for Trevor at the end of the altar? Like, who are you about to
Oh no.
marry? I feel like Chelsea wants Jimmy to behave a certain way. And when you love somebody, you need to let them exist and just be, love them unconditionally for who they are, whatever. And so I'm just taking his actions at face value. He's talking about her. He's saying he likes her. They're having later on, they're on the beach having a conversation. He's like, you're my choice. You're my person. I love you. Can't wait to start our lives
Yeah, you're
together.
my choice. Like I love this. It's
I'm
great.
just taking his actions at face value,
Hmm.
Because and maybe and the other thing is like I really feel like when guys don't like Ken does not like Brittany. We'll talk about it later, but Ken
He
does not
doesn't.
like Brittany at all, and you can tell. At least Jimmy freaking talks to each other. They went on a little excursion. They did their thing. Like,
He's trying to make the best of a situation where he feels as though he made the wrong decision.
I'm
Um,
screaming.
but they do because they fight, but then they
They
made
fight.
up at the
Hmm.
place, and then is this when they go back kind of to their normal lives and they move in
Yeah,
together?
yeah. So
Did
they
they
move
move into
in
his
together.
apartment or her apartment? They move into
So
his,
I
right?
thought they gave them a no, everybody has a shared apartment. I think the plan is just that they will move in to Jimmy's
Okay,
apartment
that makes
because
more
Chelsea has a
sense. I was
roommate.
confused. I was like, where are they? Well, that was another thing too. It's the little things. He's like, oh, I don't know if you could move in because I don't have enough space. Go to his apartment. There's plenty of space. Even she's like, you said there wasn't a lot of space. And he's like, well, for all your clothes and stuff.
No, Brandon, he works from home. Where's she gonna go when he's like in the middle of a meeting and they're shared living? I mean, that's kind of crazy because that's literally how I live right now. We have
That's
one
life.
bedroom. I work in the I work in the living room, but still, I don't know. Okay, so let me see what else these people went through. Jimmy and Chelsea.
And even when
Um,
he meets the friend, he meets her roommate, and
he
he's all
meets the
like,
roommate.
"Oh, it's so great to meet you." Like, yeah, he has that same smile. Cuts to his interview. Her friend's kind of a lot. I don't know if I want to be around her. Babe, he says one thing to her face and then another.
The show is messy because we didn't even get to see the interaction with the friends. So at least
I
let us
know
know
it was
why he
very
didn't like
brief.
her.
I know
They're
she seemed
annoying.
nice. Like, I don't know.
They're like, okay, all we know is he met the friend, doesn't like the friend. Move on. Next scene, next scene. And it's like, guys, you're making Jimmy look like a bad guy.
He does end up meeting more of her friends, which her group of
Mhm.
friends makes sense. They all seem very much alike. Um,
Brandon.
It seems to go kind of well. I will say Chelsea has a knack for throwing him under the bus a lot. I
Hmm.
notice it with her friends, with like his friends that she meets. She's very
Hmm.
much, which I try to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because I'm like, I'm sure producers want her to like bring up anything that's happened. But again, I
Right.
think she kind of does it in that annoying way where she's like, well, you kind of snapped at me earlier, didn't you? Didn't we want to get into that?
That's weird. I hate when people do that.
I do
Like,
too.
please leave your drama at home. And they didn't even ask. Like, and if they did ask, you can paraphrase. You don't have to go into detail about the argument that you had. Like, that's awkward to me. But Chelsea's like, "Oh, topic of conversation. Yeah, we fought yesterday."
But it seemed good when he met the group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he meets his two close girlfriends, which I have a suspicion, because remember in like the preview for the next episodes where
Yes.
it's like, you
Yes.
fucked her.
I think
I
it's
don't
one
think
of the
it's about
friends.
Jessica, it's one of the friends. And I have a feeling it's the
Yeah.
one with the darker hair. I don't know
Okay.
why.
Okay.
Because she was
Yeah.
too vocal and too
No.
like, oh yeah, we
Yeah.
want the best for Jimmy. I'm like, you fucked him.
Yeah. No, when
And
he
the
met
blonde
when
one
they
just seemed like I'm just here for a good time. Hey y'all.
he's a brother to us. And I was like, is he? When I saw them both, I was like, this doesn't seem right. There's something here. There's
No,
something here.
but it did go well. It seemed like she would get along with them, I guess.
Yeah.
But then they get into a fight either that
Mhm.
night or whatever night, and she's basically like, "You're not giving me like attention. Like you didn't kiss me once." He's like, "I did kiss you. I kissed you on the cheek because you were doing your makeup and all
Mhm.
this." And this is where I had a thought. I was like, "Is he different off camera as opposed to on camera?"
Oh.
Because again, he
Mhm.
puts on where
Valid.
he's like, "Oh, I love her. I love this best decision of my life. Like it's amazing." But it's like, is it off camera he's a little more cold and a little more because I think it's
I
body
wonder.
language. He does not give her body language like he likes her and like is attracted to her. And she's picking up on that. And instead of being mature and facing that, she chooses to be like annoying.
Yeah. So this, I think, so did this argument happened right after he met her friends. And so
Hmm.
I kind of took it a different, I agree that maybe there are some things behind the scenes, but Chelsea was tripping. I really feel like Chelsea was like bugging because
I mean, she was.
they were having a normal conversation. She's like, "You didn't kiss me today." And he's like, "I did." And she's like, "Oh, sorry." And, and then and then she goes, "Well, you didn't say you loved me today." And he's like, "I did tell you I loved you." And he mentioned like two times where he told her he loved her, right? And then
But
she's
he's
like,
saying it. I
"Oh,
don't think she feels it.
and she's like, when you say I love you, you just say I love you. You don't say, and I'm like, girl, no. You can't tell him that he didn't do something. That when he did it, you can't critique how he did it. He's not a robot. She's she's basically saying like how you are doing things is not enough for me. So it's not that he's not doing it. How he is doing it is not enough, which I think is just crazy. Going back to what I said before, when you're in a relationship with someone, you need to accept them as they are. I don't know if she's comparing him to somebody. Maybe that Brendan, I know you say he's kind of dry and he's not affectionate. What if that's his personality? She just met him. She doesn't know.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It could be his personality.
I don't know though, because she mentioned a couple times how the way he speaks is different than in the pods. Because
Yeah,
which is when he saw
that's
her
valid.
and that's the thing. They're just not saying it. He's what he's saying, it's clear he does not feel. And there's
Yeah.
that disconnect where he's trying to make the best of this and prove that he didn't make the wrong decision, but he's unable to fake it well enough. And
uh,
she's picking up on it. But instead of being like, okay, maybe this isn't going to work, she's trying to win him over.
Maybe. I just don't see how you can win someone over when you're constantly criticizing them.
I
Like
mean,
whatever he does is not enough. And so he's basically like, "Look, Chelsea, I worked today. I rolled out of bed, went to work, just got off of work to meet with your friends. And like as soon as we have downtime, you're here complaining to me." And he at first he's like, "Look, it's okay, I apologize." And that's when she started critiquing, "Oh, well, when you say you love me, you don't say it like you love me." And he's like, "Chelsea, you're being a little clingy."
which
Brandon, I paused Netflix and ran through my living room like, no way, didn't
I'm
call
like,
her clingy.
Jimmy, how do you find the absolute wrong thing to say?
It
You
doesn't
know,
matter because for Chelsea, whatever he says is wrong. Like he can't, in her eyes, he's
but
never
she
right.
flipped. As soon as he said clingy, she was like, are you fucking kidding me?
She's like, that's rude. This is bullshit. She was pissed.
Yeah.
Okay. My take on this is she is clingy. It is true. But in this argument, that's not very nice to say. You can say maybe later when things are calmer, you can bring it up. But like she's already upset with you, it's not going to make the situation better. But the way that she was nitpicking him was literally like, whatever you do, Jimmy, is not enough. You're not doing enough, whatever. And I think he was just frustrated and expressed how he feels, which is a valid thing to do when you're having a discussion with someone is to share how you feel. Maybe the word clingy isn't nice, but Chelsea, you can't say, okay, you didn't kiss me. Oh, sorry, you did. Oh, you didn't say you love me. Oh, you didn't say you love me well enough. And then when he says you're clingy, you're like, fuck it. I don't like it. I don't like you. Like that's not you're not receiving he can critique you too. You're sitting here critiquing him all day and you're not going to
Mhm.
accept any critique from him. You're not even going to think about a little bit how you may be clingy.
This is my thing too. It's like Chelsea, if you don't feel like he likes you and you keep having to nitpick and find things wrong, then
Mhm.
the answer is you guys just aren't compatible.
Right, right.
And like, but neither of them, because he's conflict avoidant and
Yeah.
she's like avoidant of not being annoying. It's just not a good
She avoids
combination.
peace.
She
She is the
avoids
enemy of peace.
peace. She's chaotic. She's a little chaotic, and he
A
didn't think he was
little.
getting chaotic. He thought by dodging Jessica. He was
Jessica?
like, I'm picking the chill one. But
Nope.
no, you picked someone very chaotic. And on
Very
top of that,
chaotic.
you don't like her. And she knows you
Mm.
don't like her. But she's
I
picking up.
Brandon, I literally disagree. I
I
feel
know you
like
disagree, but you're wrong. So it's fine. But
I feel like oh go ahead.
no, but I was just gonna say because they basically she's just like that was the wrong fucking thing to say, and she like curses him out, and she's like, "I'm gonna leave," but then she walks out, and then he ends up leaving,
He got his
and it's
little
just like,
toiletry bag and zipped it up. He's like, I'm
yeah.
taking my toothbrush and going
And
to
then
my apartment.
they made up relatively quickly the next day.
Yeah, they seemed fine I mean, I guess he texted her that night, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. And
But
she seemed that's where she was like, "I know I can be alive." She kind of
yeah,
acknowledged.
she kind that's this is the only time she's acknowledged anything.
She had a moment of self-reflection.
She
She's
had
like,
a
I
moment of
get
reflection.
it.
And so the end of this storyline is we see Jessica have a conversation with Laura. So they go to the little bar, and
I was
Jessica's like,
surprised because they talk and she's like, "Oh, I would still take like there's still feelings like da 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 prance prance
yeah, I
prance."
thought she would be bitter. I thought she'd be a bitter
Well, I
Betty.
thought she bitter Betty's. I thought she would see him and realize he's also like he's not cute and be like, "Oh, thank God," because
Maybe their
Jessica's
connection was
beautiful,
genuine.
but she's a
Jessica
little
is beautiful.
insecure, so it's like,
Jessica
yeah,
is insecure?
yeah.
What makes you say that?
Not about our looks, but about like love. Like I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah. Yeah.
looks. She's like beautiful and she knows she's beautiful. But the fact that she has to kind of say it, I'm like, "Oh, but you feel inferior in a lot of ways." Like when she was at the end
Yeah.
and talking to the camera person, she's like, "Oh, you know, like it's going to be hard for him once he sees me. You know." It was kind of like,
I
keep
don't
telling yourself that,
know.
even though he
I
probably
kind
will.
I don't blame her. She looks great. She's taking
She
care of herself.
does.
She looks amazing. And I kind of think it's funny that she said that because, like, yeah, you're right. Like Jimmy, I kind of thought that maybe she wouldn't care, but she still does. She says there probably will still be a spark when she sees him. She wonders how it's going, but I love that she affirmed Chelsea. She's like, Chelsea is amazing. She's so beautiful. I
She
was like,
did. She
wow.
didn't
Okay, I
talk
love
bad
this.
about
Like,
Chelsea, which was nice.
and Chelsea didn't really speak bad about Jessica. She's like, Jessica's beautiful. I know she's beautiful. He saw, oh yeah, the whole, oh, he saw a picture of her on Instagram. I think that's
Hmm.
also what made her insecure the night before. But
Well,
yeah,
she
they
said
talk.
something changed in him after he saw what she looked like. He friend requested her. She didn't
Oh,
respond, and then he removed the
deleted.
friend request and made
Yeah.
him private,
And then she also claims that everybody he's dated looks like her. So we'll see. We'll
which
see.
was like, okay.
I just think that it's just so it's really sad. I really feel for Chelsea. Like I really feel like she just has a lot of insecurity that she needs to work through and I hope after like I mean, we don't know her, but I just think that she's a businesswoman, she's a strong, capable person in her 30s doing her thing. Like she should have more like self-confidence, like
Mm-hmm.
and need less assurance. And
Yeah.
maybe, like you say, Jimmy is just giving her half I don't know, because giving not enough is Ken. But maybe in Brandon's eyes,
Well, that's
Jimmy's
giving
not doing enough.
nothing.
Ken is crazy.
Kenneth's
I think we're
crazy.
done with these guys. Do you want to go to them next?
Yeah, let's go to Kenneth and Brittany.
There's not a lot to say. We're gonna keep this quick.
There really isn't. I feel like Jimmy and Chelsea's most of the meat because even Jeremy and Lauren or Laura, there's not much meat except for like the end. I feel like
I literally forgot who Jeremy, not Jeremy,
Jeremy,
Jeremy with an A. I literally forgot who they were. And when I saw Sarah Ann, I was like, "Who's this?" Like they didn't spend any time with them in the pods for some reason, but we got the
they
tea on them
didn't
later.
because Kenneth and Brittany, their pods, it seemed nice. It
It
seemed
seemed
like
nice.
they're both religious. He's a middle
Yeah.
school principal. Isn't she a
Hmm.
teacher or something?
I don't know what she does. I
I
didn't
forget,
pay
but she was
attention.
only 24. He was 25. They meet. This is essentially like the pods. Like they're kind of just like, oh yes, like we
Yeah.
align in our values, and that
We
is
have
where in lies kind of I think it. Like that's it. They
Really?
only
I
align in
did
their
see a little
values.
bit of a spark. You didn't see a spark between. I thought that they were like Kenneth in the pod sounded excited. He was like, "Oh, we're in a rocket. Like, I
Well,
need this girl by
yeah,
my
like
side." Like
before they see each other, though,
before
is
they
the
see each other,
thing.
he was excited.
I
Yes.
think ultimately in the end, what it was is they aligned most with their values, and that
I
was it.
agree.
Because
I
everything else,
agree.
they were very like, not like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was one of those where it was just like, it seems on paper these two
Yeah.
people would
Good.
work, but there's something
Mm.
missing. They meet, they see each other. I think there was an attraction, but the meetings are always so awkward
They're awkward.
when
He
they're
said she
revealed.
was beautiful. He's like, I've never dated a white person before, but she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. He
Hmm.
seemed happy, and he was like, and they were, yeah. I mean, it was meh. It was fine.
It was this, there's not much to it, but they
Not much to
propose.
it.
It seems nice. When they're on their little engagement moon, it seems very Brady Bunch, very like, oh my gosh, like we're next to each other and just all this stuff. And like
I felt like Brittany was like that, but Kenneth was not. He
he
didn't
seemed
talk at all.
he didn't. He talked more at least in the engagement moon than after.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they like were very like they could cohabitate well
Yeah.
together. Like she had said
Yeah.
like he had her shoes ready for her and just like they
Oh
had their own
yeah.
sides at the bed and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
they seemed like they were vibing as friends, but
Yeah.
that's kind of it. And then
Yep.
like there was the discussion, they seemed fine, and then when all the couples were meeting up, that's when he talks to AD
What do
about
you think
like
about that?
AD, I appreciate AD because she's able to ask the hard questions. And
She is, and it makes me think maybe they had some kind of discussion. Maybe she is more like, because when she was talking to Kenneth, I was like, oh, y'all are really good friends then, because she
yeah,
asked, so maybe there was more. But yeah, she asked the hard questions.
I think AD, I saw this on Twitter. Someone said AD is the only person on the show that has gone to therapy and it shows. And
Oh, yeah.
I think that's true, aside from she needs to cut it with Clay. But even that, they're not the worst couple, so I'll give her some grace.
Yeah.
Um, but because she had posed the question just like, well, how do you feel? Because she's like a white woman and you'll have to raise like a black child. Like, how do you think that's gonna be? Do you think she's ready for that? And he was like, I
Yeah.
do think she is. And like he was just like, I think it will work. And like I thought about that, but I feel like, I think she'll be a great mom and she's someone like we really connect and I don't worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird because he did say also in that conversation that she was beautiful, but then he was like looking at AD and Clay, and he was like, "Y'all look so good together. I love it. Black love, black excellence." And I was like, Kenneth, I think you're rethinking your choice of dating someone outside of your race. I think that's the bottom line.
Potentially, yeah. Because even after that, they go on the boat. Now, I will say,
Oh,
because
they had a couples massage too. He seemed bored during that.
they did have a couples massage. And then, like, I feel like on the boat, they had so many awkward silences.
The production wanted us to know how quiet it was.
They did to a point where I was just like, why are they like keeping in this long, like long, awkward silences?
Mm-hmm.
And my
Mm-hmm.
thing, I was kind of like, at first, I was like, well, when they talk, it seems fine. And I feel like, being comfortable in silence with someone you love is something you should want too. So, like, maybe
Of
it's not that
course.
bad,
Yeah.
but, you know, it ended up because then they go back to their regular lives and things
Yeah.
take a quick turn.
No, it definitely felt like Brittany was kind of like pulling him to talk during their engagement moon and like
Yeah,
pull and then
she's the
I didn't really
talker.
see yeah, and I didn't even really see her talk to the other couples much, and the only clips of Kenneth talking to the other couples was when he was praising AD and Clay. So yeah, they go back to normal life, and he was like, haven't seen Kenneth happy in a while. He was like, I missed my phone, and he looked so happy to be
His
getting his phone back.
phone, I was like, sir,
This
what do you
man.
have on your phone? You keep looking at it like nonstop.
Well, he's a principal. He's like, I got principal duties.
But she's like picking up on the fact that there's just like something's not connecting. And
Yep.
he seems to be one of those people. He's very, he's a little, I don't want to say self-involved, but a little self-involved.
A
Like he's
little.
very well, a lot self. He's very to himself and he's comfortable in himself or like
Mm-hmm.
with himself and like just being alone, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Brittany definitely like is picking up on the fact that it just doesn't work for her.
Yeah.
And clearly he doesn't like her like that, but he's saying he does.
He's saying
He's
he
also very
does.
defensive.
Very defensive. Anything she brings up, he's like, "Well, don't be so quick to judge me about that." And she's like, "Okay." And then she'll bring up something else, and he's like, "But don't, for that one thing." And it's like,
Are you going to
you
change
got
your
it.
opinion? And it's like, no, she's just saying.
And she can't like. This is the problem. This is a relationship, Kenneth. She's
Yeah.
telling you something that's on her mind, and as her partner, take it in. You don't have to change up your whole life, but like consider what she's saying. Maybe make adjustments if you feel it's necessary or not. But it's like he's just like, well, I mean that may be true, but don't judge me on it. And it's
I
like,
think this
Kenneth.
is a you issue, actually. If you think about it, you're not doing any like self-reflection on your end. And this is the thing with Kenneth. He's that person where it's like he has all these things he does that's for like improving like yourself and like I have a
Mm.
mentor. When I sit down and lay down at night with the woman I'm going to be with, I want us to talk about what we loved about the day, what we
Oh yeah,
hated
yeah,
about the day. It's all
yeah,
these surface level things of
yeah.
like well-being and all
Hmm.
that, but he doesn't necessarily internalize
Yeah, and
any
he's
of
not a
it.
feedback guy. He's not a feedback guy. He's not internalizing. And it seems very like, oh, I heard that people in relationships do this, so I want to do this. Like it doesn't seem genuine. I mean, maybe I think this is what I think. He has like a storybook idea of marriage. Like,
Hmm.
okay, don't go to bed angry. Do this, do that.
Yeah.
And he's not like really giving to the relationship. Did you peep how the first day in their house he was like, "No, you can make dinner." And she was like, "Me by myself?" And he was like,
Well, because he had
"Yeah."
like nothing in his fridge and stuff. So it's like, okay,
That
he
was
probably
weird.
orders out a lot, which fine, but like
Yeah.
and she's just like the thing with Brittany too, she seems very sweet. I think she's just this person, she's kind of young and immature and she doesn't know how to vocalize her
Yeah, I
feelings.
agree. I
Because what
agree.
she's trying to say to him is, you don't act like you like me, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like our spark is gone. But instead,
Mm-hmm.
says something like,
A
when we're together,
crave.
it's fine, but like the crave, like I don't crave to be around
And I
you.
was like, "What's that?
And he's like, I
Who's
don't feel that way. And I'm like, are you sure?
literally like?" And then even him being on his phone a lot. She was like, "Don't be on your phone all day." It's like Brittany, you are engaged to this man. You can tell him, "Hey, like I kind of don't want to make dinner by myself. Can you come make it with me? Or if not, all right, let's order out." Like
Yeah.
vocalize your feelings. And maybe he shuts her down so much that's why she doesn't.
Yeah.
But Kenneth is not about to hear anything from Brittany. They're sitting down having a nice quiet dinner. And she brings up that she's missing this crave. I don't know why she said that.
I
I
know.
think what she's saying is there's no intimacy. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, I guess that means we shouldn't be together. And I was like, no fucking way. I was like, no way, Kenneth. You just gave up like that.
How did you feel about the fact? Because she mentions you were out late last night. He's like, hold up. Don't act
Oh,
like this is
that
like
was
I do that all the time. Mind you, I didn't say anything about the fact that I woke you up at 1 a.m. and turned the lights on and you didn't want to embrace me and you acted annoyed even though you had to be up at 5 a.m. I would have been like, you just laid out the reasons why you should actually be apologizing to me for waking me up at
mm-hmm.
1 a.m.
Yes, Brandon. We're on the same page now. Yes,
Okay, good. We
Brandon.
found it. We found the same
We
page.
found it. We back
I'm
together.
like, the
Now it's
fact
okay to
that he
have a
tried to
different opinion.
flip it and was like, oh, I didn't get mad when you didn't want to kiss me. It's like, sir, you're lucky she didn't like
Get
yell at
upset.
you and like get
Literally.
actually upset. If anyone woke me up
Mm-mm.
when I have to be up at 5 a.m., you don't come home until 1 a.m. I don't care if you called me in
Brandon.
between.
Oh my gosh. There's some Kenneth has zero. You're right. He has no accountability. He's not trying to hear any feedback. And all of his efforts are good and well. And it's like, no, it's not. Yeah, you just got engaged. You're about to be married. Spend time with your partner. Why do you have to hang out with your mentor at midnight? You went to the bar and then he said he got his hair done. When he said he got his hair done, I was like, okay, I get it because it does take forever to get your hair done. He has really small twists. Those would take a while. But then he said he went and did something after. I'm like, no, you're engaged. Spend time with your partner. And then he's like, because what happened was she says I'm missing a crave, and he's like, and she said you're not very physically affectionate, and that's when he throws all this stuff. Oh, I was trying to be affectionate with you at 1:30 in the morning. No, sir, that doesn't cut it. I was
No.
asleep. Who wake? There's a couple things. First, it's 1:30. I'm tired. Who wakes up? The assumption that she should be woken up with lights, not just hey, like he turned the lights on
That's
at
the thing, not like
1:30.
a nice like cuddle, like, oh hey, I'm home, like
No,
letting
like a
you
little
know.
kiss.
Yeah.
No.
It's
He,
like
he
this ring light. He shown this ring light in her face and was like, hey babe. It's just like
and he wants her to be happy about it. Boy, bye. Miss me with all Kenneth. Do you as a sleepy person, do you like to be woken up with lights on in the middle of the night? I don't even know why he felt like he should say good night. Like just be as quiet as possible. You don't have to get up at 5:30. He's thinking of himself, not of her.
I was confused too because I was like, was it like a weeknight? Like, don't you also have to be up early to be like a principal?
Their schedules just confuse me.
Yeah, I
But
don't get
yeah,
it.
that's valid too. I mean, maybe she works on the weekends. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, because I forget what she does.
We don't know.
But they end up breaking up. She's
They break
clearly
up.
distraught and she's like
Distraught.
sobbing. And he's just like,
No, you got it. What
you
the last
good?
thing he's yeah.
Bring it
He
in.
asked her, "You good? Okay, give me a hug." So we know there's no beef. And it's like, Kenneth, you didn't like her, and I think you're taking this as an out to end the relationship. Because when somebody in a relationship, when somebody brings up an issue, you have a talk about it and work on it. He's like, "Well, if there's no crave, then I'm out." But it
It's
was
like,
nice
well,
to
why
meet
don't you
you.
like try to dissect the reason? Because he just didn't
Yeah.
care. And it
And then this is
showed.
another it showed, and this is another example of her not speaking up. Because in that moment, I would have been like, "Wait, it's over? You don't think this is something we could work on?"
Hmm.
Or at least like when he's like, "Are you good?" She's not good. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody just rejected you. I may not want comfort from that person in that moment, but I think she was very shocked that he just ended it right there. Like, what happened to the guy in the pods who was so excited about
Hmm.
marrying me, you know? And
Yeah.
it's crazy because this was episode 8. We didn't even see them in episode 9. So I think it's done, like for real.
Okay. When he called the friend on the phone, did it
Yeah,
seem like it was just a friend?
it did. It did to me.
I couldn't like it cut out when he like said something. I thought he said babe at first. I
No
was like,
way.
does he have a secret girlfriend this whole time and that's why he's okay with it?
I listened in and I just remember him saying like he's that's probably who he was texting. And then he was
Probably.
just like, "Hey, yeah, I'm about to leave. Yeah, I'm about to leave here. Yeah, I'm on my way," or something like that. But I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't know. But they included it for a reason.
Yeah.
Again, this show is setting people up, but I don't know.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Poor Kenneth. Brittany deserves better. Kenneth, I don't know about you. And it's obvious that he wasn't really sharing his true feelings either. You know?
Yeah. They were just she didn't know how to communicate, but like she was trying where he was
Mm-hmm.
just like gaslighting.
Gaslighting her, literally. He's just like, yeah, I did that, but you shouldn't judge me for it. And it's like,
You shouldn't care. All right. Who do we want to talk about next?
let's go to AD and Clay. So Clay and AD, after her whole situation with what was his name? Matthew.
Wait, we have to talk about that because
Okay.
remember,
Oh, we do have to talk about Matthew. You're right, you're
we
right, you're
do have
right.
to talk about Matthew because I was so team Matthew and AD. And
He
then
was.
it reveals he's a fucking like just awful person. Like he's just bad.
He's bad.
I was hoping that Amber was AI. It was a
She
producer plant.
wasn't.
It's
Oh, go
like
ahead, go ahead.
suspect a little bit still that they didn't show any clips, I feel like. Not that it's
Yeah.
fake, but I just found it interesting. But I'm like, maybe something happened because she left early and then Matthew left early, so they didn't show it for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah.
But
No.
like, it was all real. And AD confronts
It's
Matthew, and then Matthew
hmm
tries to flip it and be like, I know you want more than anything the ring and all this.
That
And
was some reverse psychology. I didn't know what Matthew was doing there. Okay,
he's
sorry
insane.
isn't in your vocabulary. I'm sorry is not in your vocabulary. Matthew is like, besides all that, I know your desires. And it's like, can you address the fact that you told me and the girl the same exact thing? What's wrong with you? Literally, what's wrong with you? And then he kept talking about production, which I thought was weird.
That
He's
was,
like, I
he
think
kept
America's on my side. And it's like,
America
do
wants the
you?
underdog to win. He was very much like into like he clearly watched the show. He was
Yep.
into his perception, even though
Mm-hmm.
masking as if he wasn't. And it was just
Yep.
too into the show. And AD picked
Yeah.
up on that. She was just like, why do you keep bringing up like the audience and like all
Yeah, I think
that?
she said something like, "Oh, the cameras don't matter for me."
Yeah.
And so yeah, but he didn't really apologize. He was like, "Well, I didn't say the same things." And 80 is better 80 is better than me. I think 80 knows that there's no point in arguing with somebody who you're just going to go back and forth with. So she didn't do that, but I would have been like, "No, she literally said this, 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 and this." The whole thing about running away, she said that. Like almost everything she said, you told me, Matthew. So explain.
I didn't tell her that I wanted to call my mom.
Great. One
Great,
out of the
amazing.
eight things.
One out of the eight personal things. Thanks.
Matthew is a fool. And I think it's later in the day that she bumps into Amber and tells Amber what I think she's crying about Matthew or something. And she bumps into Amber and tells Amber, Matthew literally said he wanted to call my dad. And that's when Amber kind of made the connection like, oh, I'm leaving. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
leaving.
And
I'm
she was
leaving.
like, I shouldn't have, like, had I known, I wouldn't have told you all these things about, like, me and him. And then she starts crying and she's like, I
Mm-hmm.
care more about this than that. And
Mm-hmm.
then he ends up leaving too. It was just a mess.
It was a mess. Yeah, he has another conversation with AD, and he's like, "Well, I think you know that Amber left." And she's like, "Yeah,
Was it,
yeah, Amber
was it
helped her
cousin
pack
me?
this morning."
Was it cousin me? Was it
What
me?
do you think, Matthew? Obviously, it was because of you. And he's like, "Man, I just feel like I broke her heart on national TV." And it's like, "Okay, Matthew."
Matthew, go to hell. Anyways,
And then he leaves, and he's like, "I'm gonna go get Amber."
which I
Matthew.
was like, did he say that or was it like, because it was his back was turned? I was like,
His
was it
back
kind of
was
just
turned.
added to like,
It could have been a soundbite.
maybe we'll find out on the reunion, but
Yeah, I hope that he comes because in the past, some people have not shown up. So I
well,
wonder
I'm gonna be
if
surprised with
Matthew
a
will
lot of
come.
these people if they show up. I'll just say
Kenneth,
that.
Kenneth's like, I'm a principal. I don't have time for
Kenneth,
this.
Trevor, Jeremy with an
Trevor,
A,
Jeremy with an A. He's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Oh, why, Jeremy? Jeremy.
Jeremy. Um, but yes,
Oh.
Clay and AD, Clay
hmm
and AD, Clay and AD.
They have a good time. They get together. Clay apologizes for wanting to know about her appearance. He gets very emotional. It's so funny. I was watching this. I'm like usually cooking dinner or doing something. It turns to a scene of Clay, and Clay is crying.
He's like,
And I'm like, why are you crying? Clay, literally, they show us no context at first. And then even after he explains why he's crying, I still didn't get it. But he's just like, it's a lot of expectations. And I was like, oh, like, I guess he was overwhelmed. I don't know. I just, when I saw him crying, it took me aback. I was like, what
it
are
was
you crying
it was a
about?
lot. And
It
then
was a
like he
lot.
kind of flips out on her though when before Matthew leaves when she's like, I'm between you and Matthew. And he's like, are you kidding me? And he kind of yells at her and it was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, he didn't say it to her, but basically he was upset because she liked Matthew and Matthew is not on her level at all. But she doesn't know that, Clay. Like, put it
Yeah.
together. She doesn't know what he looks like. And you're kind of judging Matthew off of what he looks like. You haven't had intimate conversations with Matthew like AAD has. But yeah, he did kind of yell at her. And then he yelled at her and was like, so you're not gonna say anything? And it's like, no, You just yelled at me. He's
He's
like, so you just gonna let me leave? And it's like, yeah, go. Why are you yelling?
right. But, he does apologize the next day.
He said sorry, yeah.
And then from their time in the pods, it seems like they're very much connecting.
Hmm.
And like it seems like, okay, maybe this could work, or maybe this could be something. Like it seemed like they were opening up. When they
Hmm.
met, it was like he's one of those people that I feel like he feels like he has to say something to like fill silence. So
Yeah, he
sometimes
doesn't
it
like
comes
quiet.
across a little like not genuine. So
Yeah.
when they meet, like in moments where it's like it's okay to be quiet and just sulk in it, he's like, "Oh, this is great, isn't this? This is amazing." He's a little
Yeah.
bit like Jimmy, but I think he actually does like AD. Oh,
No, I agree. He definitely likes AD, and it doesn't seem like he's cool with awkward silence. But I thought their like initial meeting was cute. And then
yeah,
they really had a good time for the most part on their engagement moon.
I agree. It went relatively well, I would say. I think there was one
Yeah.
moment that was awkward because weren't they like eating, and then he's just like they had an awkward silence, and he was like stacking the plates, and then he was like, "But this whole marriage stuff is weird, right?" He's like,
that
"What?"
that whole thing was bizarre to me. Well, when I first started watching it, I was like, okay, he's eating soup. I thought that was a weird. That's a weird meal choice for the beach
He was
on a truck.
really into the
He
soup.
ate like some hot soup.
Good
He was
soup.
going in. He's like, I'm really just into the food, and he's like eating. He's tearing the soup up, drinks all the broth,
And
then
she's like,
cleans up. But then he starts taking some deep breaths, and I'm like, is he having like a moment? Like, is he like kind of feeling overwhelmed because he's starting like? And she was just like, what just happened? And he didn't really. I think he did kind of mention that he was like overwhelmed, and I don't know. The stuff Clay says this doesn't look good for him. He's basically like, I don't want to be a cheater, and it's like.
no,
Okay.
he's basically telling her, I'm going to cheat on you, but I don't want to.
I don't want to cheat on you.
But I think it's
AZ, I
genetic.
don't
I
want
watched my
to.
dad cheat on my mom all the time.
That was kind of sad.
And I'm like, that is sad, but I'm like, just don't cheat on her. Like, what are you
she's
saying
like
right
she's
now?
like so what do you she's like trying to dig in. So what do you think would lead you there? And he's just like, I just don't want to do it. And it's like, okay then, you know, you could say my biggest fear is like maybe falling out of love and falling into temptation. That would make a lot of sense. But he's not
Yeah.
really expressing his feelings. He's just like, I don't want to cheat. And then I see in the clip for next week he says it again and I'm like, Clay, why do you
Clay.
think are you feeling urges to cheat now? Just express your like explain. Like it's good to share your fears, but you don't have to share all of them.
Right? And I think her, like, you don't have to vocalize everything. Jesus.
Especially scary thoughts. He's like, I don't want to accidentally drown, and it's like, or I don't want to, you know,
It's
hit
like I
you
don't
one
think
day.
anyone wants to cheat. Like I don't that's like
Yeah.
in Vanderpump Rules when Tom was like, I got the feeling that Ariana didn't want to know that I was
Oh my gosh,
cheating
he was
on
so
her with
full of it.
Raquel. It's like, nobody wants to know that. Like that's
Right.
not because you also shouldn't do it. Like, I don't know. It gave
Exactly.
me very
And
much
that doesn't
that.
mean hide it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was
But
weird.
my thing with 82, because I think she's kind of like she's verbalized that she's always been like a fixer, like a save a hoe, like just kind of
Yeah.
like if I see a guy I can fix, like I'll try to.
I don't
And
like
I
that.
think she's trying to justify this case by saying, but he's honest about it. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything really. Like,
It
granted,
doesn't.
I don't like maybe he's just someone he's cheated many times before and he just doesn't want to be like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, you just don't
Hmm.
be like that. You
Yeah,
you just
like
don't.
yeah, I'm curious if he has, but I agree when she was saying like anytime he has an intelligent emotional reflection, she's like, that's good. That's so good. And it's Clay is not on your emotionally intelligent level, AD. Like you have been to therapy. Well, obviously you've
She's
been
like,
to
oh
we
my
think
God,
that you've been to
honey, you
therapy.
vocalized an emotion in a
Yeah,
healthy
like that's so
way.
good. And it's like I like that she's praising him for that, but like she's not they're not equal in their level of emotional intelligence. And he's working on it. He's giving it his best shot, which I commend. I just don't think that he's as ready for marriage as her. And
No. He
I
didn't even
think
know
he's
he had
pretty
to wear a
much,
ring.
yeah. He was like, so when do we get who you go get me one? Who gives them to us? And she's like, the ring bearers.
It's like, okay, Clyde.
Like, you never been to a wedding?
I
Like,
get it. You haven't thought like also if this whole marriage thing, why are you on this show?
yeah. You didn't
Like
even think to learn about
I
weddings, what it takes beforehand.
no. And he's just very he's very he kind of snap a little bit and she'll be like, "Whoa." Like when they were
Yeah.
talking about like when they were like outside the engagement moon, I think they were talking about with his mom and sister, they were talking about their
Yeah.
jobs and getting their schedules and she was just trying to be like, "Oh, well, it's not like we just gotta like figure it out." And he took it very personally and he kind of was just like, "Well, what do you want to happen?" And she was just like, "Whoa."
Yeah. I mean, it took me a minute to even figure it out. So she said 9 to 5 and then 9 to 9. So I'm assuming on the weekends he works 9 to 9. And
Hmm.
to make it easier for him, he's probably staying at his other residence and then going to work. And I guess his work involves boats. I was like, the boat, you gotta fill the boat with gasoline.
Yeah,
Like,
I missed what his job was. I
I missed
didn't
what his job was too. I just know that, well, they're both entrepreneurs, so he must be doing entrepreneur something entrepreneurial
because
around
she's
like
real estate and
outdoor activities.
manages a nightclub.
Yeah, yeah.
So she probably has
So,
crazy hours too.
right.
So they're just trying to
So,
fix it. But I think they're both very independent people.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think what he was asking for is reasonable? Like, okay, one night a week or 2 nights a week, I stay somewhere else to make it easier for me to go to work the next day?
I think, yeah, but maybe it's the way he was asking. I
Yeah.
think it's the way and him constantly saying, I don't want to cheat on you, but let me stay somewhere else a few days. It's kind of not
Mm-hmm.
providing any reassurance.
Mm-mm.
It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, and maybe she's picking up on that. I just think she's more emotionally intelligent than him. And she's once
Yeah.
again trying to like fix him. But I don't think he's like beyond like I don't know, I don't think he's completely like bad, but it's just like
No.
I don't think they're ready to get married is the thing. I'm like, I feel like they need to date longer and then
Yeah.
maybe it could be something because there's something there. Now, Amy and Johnny, um, I think a good thing for them is I think they may be the only like actually completely compatible
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah.
and that shows because wasn't it like episode 3? They like decided like, oh yeah, we're the ones for each other, and then they like were the
Yeah.
first couples to meet up and
Yeah.
propose.
And propose. And they were he said I love you like right away. He's like I'm only dating you. They were both very sure of each other from jump, and I think they're a very cute couple. They seem to have a lot of like chemistry.
They do. They seem just, it's very normal. Their one thing is just he wants her to get on birth control potentially, but she's like, you could get a vasectomy. And the thing is, because like they don't want to risk having a
Yeah.
baby, and like he doesn't even want to use a condom because it's too much of a risk because she's not on birth control. And I'm like, there's something a little weird about this situation.
I was like, Johnny, I don't know how old she is, but she
I think they're
hasn't
both
gotten,
27.
okay. She uses protection and she's not pregnant. So it is possible to use protection and not get pregnant. You don't have to go on birth control, and it does mess with your hormones a lot. So I don't blame um Amy for not wanting to go on it. Like she doesn't have
Yeah.
to. And it really messes with your body. Like it causes weight gain, it changes your hormones. Like there's so much involved with birth control. Like why would you take an invasive pill if you literally don't need to? And his I don't think I don't maybe he just doesn't understand, but
He seems very like type A kind of, or just very like
yeah.
worried, and she's a little more carefree.
Yeah.
But like she like met his family, and
Mm-hmm.
the sisters seem nice, and they all got
Yeah.
along. It seemed like she fit in well. I think
She
this is
fit
a
in
good
very well.
couple, and I could see them getting married. They seem very cute and normal, which is why we
Yeah.
don't have much to say.
Exactly.
But that's pretty much it with them. I think the main drama might be also that the dad just thinks the whole situation's kind of weird. So it may be
Yeah.
awkward with that, but I think they'll work through it. The dad
I
seemed like he'd be fine in
Well,
the
she said
preview.
that she's not gonna marry him if dad doesn't approve.
Yeah. And we saw her in a wedding dress.
We saw her in a dress.
So
So maybe her dad does approve. Well, I guess we should just jump into the last couple then.
the shining light, the last couple, the main event
The
of
main
the
event.
last episode that's aired so far. Jeremy and Laura.
Jeremy and Laura.
Jeremy.
Jeremy with an A.
Yes. They seemed, I feel like they didn't show like the most of them in the pods, but it always seemed good.
Brandon, they were on like the last episodes of the pod section. And when they came on screen, I was like, oh, them. When I saw Sarah Ann, I was like, who's that? I think they only showed Sarah Ann like once before, and they didn't show Jeremy and Laura consistently. So their pods must have just not been significant. But I was like, there's a reason why they added this couple to the mix.
Jeremy, his whole thing, he was connecting with Sarah Ann and Laura. It seemed like him and Sarah Ann seemed good, I guess.
Yeah, I just remember him saying like, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna move forward with somebody else, but you're really nice." She was just like, "Okay, I'm not mad at you, and it's
Yeah,
fine." And it was like, "Oh, all right."
it was
Yeah.
relatively healthy. Like you could see she was disappointed, but she
Yeah.
wasn't like immature about it. He ends up
Right.
picking Laura. They meet up. It seems
Hmm.
good. I will say with Jeremy, he seemed immature,
He's so immature. He's childish.
but I was like, he seems nice. Cause
Yeah, very
like in the
nice.
pods, it was like, oh, like he would talk about family, like his dad had passed away, and that made him really like want to like have a family and like getting together with his
Yeah.
mom and grandma made him want to like recreate the big family he used to have. I was like, this
Hmm.
is sweet.
Hmm.
Um, and so him and Laura, they seemed to be fine, but I couldn't tell if she liked him or not. Like when they were interacting on the engagement moon.
It's actually weird to say, but like I didn't really get a good read of Laura. Other than that, she kind of just doesn't like the goofiness, and she's kind of like not bossy, but a little like, no, we gotta do it
Yeah.
like this kind of person. But like, other than that, I didn't really get a good read of her. I actually haven't even thought of whether she likes him or not.
I
I have
I
this whole breakdown.
honestly
I've
fair.
analyzed the dynamics of Chelsea and Jimmy, but Laura, I'm like, she
I don't
cute,
know.
but I can't
Um,
really see. I mean,
I
they
c-
don't spend time on it either.
they don't, and I did kind of chalk it up. It just seems like her personality to kind of like act annoyed and kind of like, and it's like about goofy shit. Like he wears Hawaiian shirts and like all that, and like his goofiness, but like she finds it endearing ultimately. But there
Yeah,
was that weird moment where they all met up, and he told how Laura told him to bean flip
bean
AD,
something,
which
not
was
bean flip.
basically they called it bean flip, I
It was
swear.
bean dip, dip, dip,
Bean
dip.
dip. I knew it was something like
I'm
that.
like, ain't no flipping,
Well,
but
it seemed like a flip because it was like apparently you go up to someone and you go
and
top bottom.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And you flip something in the front.
yeah.
But he
Not
like
something in
told
the
it
front.
and it seemed like they were all laughing about it. But then when Laura heard about it, she got annoyed.
I think Jeremy was immediately embarrassed because like Jeremy is like a goofy person, and so if you're not immediately receptive like to a joke or something, he kind of I feel like he shut down a little bit.
Oh
And he was just
yeah.
like, "Ooh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah," you know. And then he was like, "But Laura made me do it." And the Laura looked first. AD was like, "Haha," and then she was like, "But did you?"
But did you?
AD has
And
a
she's like, it was a fucking joke. I couldn't
yeah.
do Laura's voice, but I just sounded weird.
No, it was just an awkward interaction. And then he said it in front of Clay, which made it weird. The whole thing was weird. It just made it all weird.
Yeah. And then he
And
like
then
didn't talk the rest of the night and like slept on the
he said he was
couch.
going home. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
going home. Going home? You're in the Wait,
Home.
where are they? You're in the Dominican Republic. and you want to
You
go
can't
home.
go home.
You can't go home. You can't go home when marriage gets hard. You can't go home when the babies are crying at 2 a.m. You're married and then you're engaged right now, Jeremy, about to be married. You can't just go home.
They did make up the next day, but I feel like
Yeah.
it was just a big red flag. And then in their normal
Why? What
life,
made it a red flag?
just the way he responded, like the way they kind of
Oh,
responded as far as like he didn't speak for the rest of the night and then like slept on the
yeah.
couch. It seemed very
Yeah.
much like, okay, well, y'all,
Yeah.
like something's amiss.
Your conflict resolution is bad. And he admitted it the next day. He's
He
like, I
did,
shouldn't have
which I
done
was like,
that.
okay, maybe then there will be growth. There
Hmm.
isn't. They
No.
do have moments in their normal life where it seems like they're kind of getting along. It seems fine. It seems pretty
Yeah.
normal, basic. But
His house is
then
very clean and she approves.
she does. But then there's one morning we cut to Jeremy with an A. He's in the living room with a ball cap and sunglasses.
Wait, you have to explain the Instagram thing first.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. There was the Instagram. Sarah Ann sent a message that was
Hmm.
like, oh, like, just so you know, it was a great experience, da 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 da, like sweet, like stuff, nothing bad. And then she ends it, if things don't work out, let me know.
Hmm.
And he instantly
Messy,
told
messy,
Laura,
which
but
is
he did
good.
heart it. But it was good that he told her. I thought it
Yeah.
was
And he
fine.
said he didn't reply. He said he hearted it, he didn't reply, and he told her about it.
Hmm.
And that was like the only I mean, I don't even think they really had a fight over it. It was just like an area of
No,
contention because when her family came over, she brought it up. And I was like, again, guys, this is the first time these people are meeting your fiance, and they're all like, throw them under the bus.
right?
Let's tell them our
Bring up the
worst
drama.
interactions.
It's
Like,
like I
why
get
would you
it,
do
but
that?
still. I
I
get
want to say
kind
her
of why
parents
she
are
was,
so cute.
they were. I
They're
liked her
adorable.
parents. I get why she was maybe a little annoyed that he didn't like shut it down completely, but he did tell her and he did like it. Like he only
Yeah.
liked it, he didn't respond. So it was like not the worst. Like it was fine.
No,
But
I didn't think it
then
was bad. Yeah.
it cuts to the scene I was describing earlier with him in his shades and his ball cap. And then
I
Laura,
was like, shades, body language, all of it. They're sitting across the room. I was like, you could cut this tension with a knife.
Laura comes in with her Target cardigan and she's like, I'm gonna,
Cardigan, cardigan,
she's like,
Brandon.
I'm going to, are you going to keep those sunglasses on the whole time you talk to me? And then she just goes off about how
He
you
goes
were
off.
out till 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even call or text. What were you doing? Da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
You shared your location, but what, you expect me to wake up at 5 a.m. and check your location? Like, where were you?
You want me to monitor you all night?
Yes. And that's when he's like, I was just out with the boys and then we were going to Lost and Found. But then someone said Sarah Ann's going and I wasn't going to go. But then I was just like, oh, we're just going to talk. Like, it should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's pushing it. She's like, you're out till 5 a.m. talking to your fucking ex. You already know I'm annoyed that you didn't shut that shit down. And now you put me in this situation where you're doing
Mm-hmm.
something sketchy till
Mm-hmm.
5 a.m. I would have
Mm-hmm.
never handled it like this. And I believe she
Mm-hmm.
would.
I agree. I agree.
And then but he's adamant. He's like, we just went in the car and talked and we were in the parking lot. And she was just like, where were you? And he
Come
was
again?
like, and then he goes, I don't want to talk about that right now. She's like, you don't
Oh
want to
no, no.
talk
She asked
about it.
him, so you didn't leave the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, so you didn't leave the parking lot? And he's like, I don't want to discuss that right now. What do you think this is? We're having a discussion, Jeremy. What is
And
this? You can't just choose to talk about some things and not other things, Jeremy. No, and we're saying I think he's saying that because of the cameras.
yeah, he didn't want to like admit to it on camera. And then she's like, you weren't where you said you were. You think you were going to share your location and I wasn't going to check it at 5 a.m. I was like, yeah.
She's a queen. We
Yeah.
love
I'm
her.
like, Laura,
We
I
love
knew
a
I
queen
liked
with
you. You
receipts.
did some
Yes,
questionable
Laura.
shit in the middle, but in the beginning, I liked her. And now you're reinforcing why. Thank you. And he was just like
Laura got him.
shook.
He was. He said he was just like, when I have you choked,
Yes.
choke
And he
like
was like,
Jessica
no,
said you'd be
there's an
choked.
alley next to it. And da 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 da. And she's like, you weren't
So you
even
were
down south. You were in North Uptown where Sarah Ann
Brand.
lives. I was like,
She got him all the way together. She was not gonna let this boy lie to her. And what I love about it is he really thought he had the upper hand for a second. Cause she kind of did some reverse psychology. She was like, yeah, you think I'm just gonna watch your location? He's like, oh, so she didn't see. And then in the morning, I guess wherever he was where Sarah Ann lives. Doesn't know how she knows where Sarah Ann lives, but that's where he was. Also, you were in an alley with Sarah Ann. That doesn't sound very good either,
no.
sir, at 2 a.m.
Someone on Twitter, or I saw something where someone said this is the epitome of I'm asking the question because I already know the answer. And I want
Mm-hmm.
to see if you're going to lie to me. And then I
Mm-hmm.
also saw someone said on Twitter that apparently on Reddit, people were speculating maybe he left his phone in the car
Oh, and went
and
somewhere
but
else.
his Apple Watch still had his location she could check.
Oh, I was thinking that because some people really go to great lengths to just be messy and be unfaithful. So I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, he could have put his phone anywhere. Your location really doesn't matter, but she got him all the way together.
She did,
And
and
then she
that's
just left. She left.
she's
He
like,
had
I'm
nothing to
out.
say. I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, I don't think that Jeremy and Laura are meeting at the altar. Laura, first, I love Laura is the woman this season that is gonna get her man all the way together. Chelsea tries. Uh, but like Laura has a legitimate reason, at least in my
Yes.
opinion, to get her man all the way together. Like she's saying what needs to be said. She is confronting you with the facts. I wish AD did this. I wish that Brittany did this. You know what I mean? But she's like getting him all the way together. And I just really appreciate that she didn't let it slide by or skirt by. But he was really about to sit there and lie to her, which is crazy because the last thing we saw was him being so nice to her family, being so nice, talking. The family is like, we like him being so charming and engaging. And then Jeremy went to hang out with Sarah Ann. Like, if you met her, like this is why I'm sorry. This is why he's stupid. I was gonna say men are stupid, but that's not true. But this is why Jeremy with an A is specifically stupid. You met Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann left the door open. If you truly want to be with her, break up with fuck, what's her name?
Laura.
If you truly want to be with Sarah Ann, break up with Brittany and is that her name?
Laura.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
We've been talking too long about these
Third time's
people.
the no, all their names are just so confused. In my notes, I'm like Johnny and Amy. Oh, it's Jimmy. No, it's Johnny. Anyway, if he truly wants to be with Sarah Ann, he can just break up with Laura and be with Sarah Ann. And Sarah Ann is cool with being the second choice. She's already explained that. She's like, I'm fine with it. So
She's
just
like, he
break up with
said
your
that
partner
he
and move
was gonna break
on.
up with her anyways to like AD in the preview. I'm like, Sarah
Uh,
Ann, you need to
yeah.
go to
Yeah,
hell.
we right. We do see and it's like that's I just think it's messy. Like he's an engaged man. You know he's an engaged man, and I, and I think she just genuinely wants him. Maybe I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's sad. Like no girl wants that to happen to them, especially while you're engaged, especially in front of all of the world.
right. It's
Like,
just it's again with Jeremy. I like thought he was immature, and even the way he handled the whole like bean dip thing,
yeah.
I was like, that was immature. Like you shouldn't have like not talked to her the rest of the night. But he did
Hmm.
own it. I never
Yeah.
thought he would be like a cheater like that. That didn't
Right.
cross my mind.
It didn't. It didn't. It seemed like he was at least a little and even he spoke a big game. He was like, "No, I'm in this. I want to be married." He's very playful. Their energy, he accepts her as she is. He's like, "I love you." They're at the little like couples gathering at the engagement moon and he goes to give her a kiss and scares her. I was like, that is so funny to me. But like they had a good vibe. They had a good thing going. I did not anticipate him being unfaithful. Kenneth looked like he had somebody on the side. Jeremy didn't. So I was very surprised by that.
But that does lead to like there I would say there was two bits of gossip that have been
Okay.
uncovered about certain men on this cast. Jeremy being one of them. because he was allegedly engaged shortly before coming on Love is Blind. I didn't read too much into the details, but I saw it was
Hmm.
something like he was apparently living with this fiance right before going on the show.
Yeah.
But then he came forward and was just like, no, I had been on my own for a couple weeks at that point. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I saw something on the Shade Room. And I think, didn't people allege that they had a kid together?
Yeah, there was something with that too. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Jeez, Jeremy.
Gee, Jeremy with an
Jeez.
egg. Gosh.
But it's like, yeah, I saw that. And he like tried to, I mean, look, if you are truly single, that's cool. But if you just broke up an engagement, I don't know if you want to just jump into another engagement, like maybe take some time. But if he was,
Yeah.
I mean, them, if he was engaged at the time, okay. But him being engaged before, like, that's not the best, but you were technically single. So, okay, Jeremy.
Yeah. But the worst bit of gossip I would have to say would have to be with Trevor. Trevor Mullet
Ooh.
Man, Disney character. The one who Chelsea did not pick, that we were like, oh, she should have picked him because they would have been perfect. You know what? As much as I talk about Jimmy, I don't think he's this bad because apparently Trevor had a girlfriend the whole time filming this show and was text messages revealed that they were very much together. Anything he said on the show was fake and acting, but he's glad that Chelsea ended up picking someone because he'll definitely be on the show. He admitted to giving the collar to Chelsea, and he just kept telling his girlfriend how he loved her and can't wait to be back with her and all this other stuff. Coming to find out, though, he did 2 weeks before the premiere happened on Netflix for this new season, broke up with this girl. But I just find it weird because it's like,
Yeah.
were you acting during this whole time? Because it
Yeah.
seemed genuine when he was falling for Chelsea and hurt by her not picking him.
He was crying.
He was crying. That's the thing. These men are crazy.
That's insane. It's giving Legion.
What's Legion?
It's giving like you're putting on a show. Like, why would you pretend to do this process with this girl and then be texting? I didn't know they had phones though.
I think it was before going into the pods, like
Oh, okay,
leading up,
okay.
probably during the like time when they were like auditioning or like in the hotels.
If this is true, what is the end game? Because you're not about to be a big celebrity. Do you want to go on Love Island? Like, what is it?
That's the thing,
Because
because
there's
I'm
not
like,
a
Love is Blind. They don't really have like people that come out of it like huge, right?
I mean, at most you're gonna become a social influencer. Maybe you can monetize some of your social media accounts, and if you play your cards right,
I'm
like you're
sure
gonna gain a big
Manscaped will
following.
sponsor you.
You're gonna
That's
gain a
it.
big following from big being on the show, so maybe you can monetize off of that, and maybe you can end up like Love Island collects pretty much men and women from any of the Netflix shows, so he could end up there, but. I don't see what the gain is of ruining your public reputation. Like, if it gets that bad, you could lose your job. Like Trevor,
Yeah.
what's the end goal here? Any other clips from the preview for next time stand out to you?
No, we kind of talked about the Chelsea saying, "Oh, you fucked her," and how we think it's one of Jimmy's
Yeah,
friends. I
yeah.
noticed the only three in wedding dresses were Amy,
Amy.
AD, and
Uh-huh.
Chelsea, which surprised me.
There is a conversation where you see Jimmy sitting down with Jessica saying, "You're still my number one."
Oh yeah.
And I was
That's
like,
that's why I'm like, what is happening?
number one. I
No,
hope that it was a soundbite of you talking to Chelsea, and they put it over a different clip because that just doesn't make any sense.
because
Or maybe he and Chelsea got in a fight and they were on the rocks, and maybe that's why.
but that's why Jimmy's fucked up. Because anytime he has one fight, he tells the other person, "I love you."
Oh, yep. That's all it
So
takes. Oh, you're mean to me? Bet. I'm gonna love someone else for the day.
right, and I'm like, I would hope. I mean, if Chelsea gets married to Jimmy, I would assume she did not know he said that. But I have a
Yeah.
feeling they're not still together. I hope not.
I'm pretty sure they're not. Maybe us seeing her in the dress was her going dress shopping. That could have been it too. Because
Maybe.
she's talking to Trevor in the clip, and she's saying to Trevor, like I did love you, or she said something kind of like intimate.
Yeah.
I don't remember
But she
exactly,
seemed
but
like
she
she was
did say
in
something.
glam, and it was like one of those like still shots they were taking, like, I'm in a dress. But I don't
The
know.
facial expressions. Sorry for those of you listening to audio. You're missing it. You gotta come
Subscribe
to
to the
YouTube
YouTube. Come
so you can
on.
see Brandon's face. Yeah.
Both are
But
beautiful
yeah,
faces.
everything, all of those clips right before, and then we see Chelsea in a dress. I'm like, none of this makes sense. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna stay together. But at this point, I only think the only couple that's gonna stay together is Amy and Johnny.
I
I'm
agree.
convinced.
But yeah, because there's
Yeah.
going to be two new episodes next week. So next week's episode, we'll cover those two episodes
Mm-hmm.
as well as other topics. But this week was just very nothing else going on but Love is Blind.
Yep.
And we had a
Yep.
lot to catch up on.
We had a lot to catch up on, so thanks for bearing with us. The next
Mhm.
one, we'll just talk about the two new episodes that came out. But this was
Yes.
a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this show. It's so funny because I'll be watching and I'll be like, Obi, my partner. I'm like, Obi, what happened? Or I call his name and I'll tell him what happened, and he's like excited to hear about it too. Like I'm
Oh,
so into this show right now.
I love it. It's going to be ending soon, though. I feel like there's only 2 weeks left.
That's why I'm like, you guys, Love is Blind. Why don't you just spread it out a little bit? Why are you doing 6 episodes 1 week, three, two, and then one?
I mean, I
Like,
just do like 3 a week.
yeah, like you could spread it out a little bit, keep
Yeah.
people talking. I don't know why their schedule is like that.
I don't know either. But with that being said, that's it for today's episode.
That is all.
Thank y'all so much for listening. Make sure to
Thank
rate and
you.
review us on like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Leave us a review. Talk about our beautiful voices. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and comment about our beautiful faces and beautiful opinions.
Yes. And my cute earrings.
Yes, Maggie's wonderful earrings. We love them. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. I think they're both the Shade of It All podcast. Should
Yeah.
be the
Or
username
the
or
Shade of It
something.
All pod.
Yeah. And then we always post clips on there. But yeah, thank y'all so much. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.